I'm Richard Porter.
I'm Jonny Smith.
And this is On the Other Side of Things, the Smith & Sniff spin-off in which we answer your questions. Well, here we are again, answering your questions. If you have a question for us, it's hello@smithandsniff.com. Johnny, what have you got?
Richard, listen, look, here. I've got Morgan Barnett, a lovely, sweet, sweet guy who's messaged us to say, hi.
It's not like it's not a reference to what happens to your hairstyle if you drive a wood-frame roadster.
It could be.
Actually, Morgan Barnett would be what happens to your hairstyle if you put a tweed cap on a lot, because surely you can't drive a Morgan without wearing a cap.
Gentlemen, this is Morgan Barnett. Hello, everybody. Yes, I was shot down twice during the war, but I'm still okay. And you know what? I enjoyed it. Looking back, it was fun.
I wasn't even a pilot.
That's right. I stole one of the planes to impress a lady. So Morgan has written in to say, listen, S&S, I've just necked a really overstewed cup of tea and the caffeine hit had a curve so hard it'd send a Ferrari mechanic straight into the nearest lamppost. So, before I come back down, here's some quick-fire questions for you. Number 1, 6 or Super V8? Number 2, motorway catseyes, avoid at all costs or thump straight over them? 3, mullets are inexplicably back. What's the most mullety car on sale today? Thank you, guys. I'm off to speak too loudly to my cat before having a lie down with Enya and think about what I've just written to you. Morgan, I really like your turn of phrase.
That's a hell of a cup of tea.
Isn't it? How many bags and how long has it stewed? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what was the first one?
Question 1, 6 or
Super
Super V8? Yeah.
Ooh. I know your answer to that because you don't like V12s very much.
No, not massively. I'm becoming less annoyed with them. But you know the thing about the 6 is I think it's one of the coolest car badges because just for the fact that it doesn't say V12, it adds a little bit of a conundrum to the boot of the car.
Yes.
Oh, I'll tell you what. Have a
why
6.
did they call it that? Like a sort of a tiny logic puzzle for a child.
I think it's because they thought Jaguar people maybe are casino frequenters. And it's like a dice roll thing.
But it was Daimler was the 6. So, but I suppose same deal. Daimler people, casino people.
They are maybe casino people, or maybe they sold a few to croupiers over the years, and they went, "Oh, V12. I mean, it's impressive because it's 12 cylinders, but why don't we just make it a little bit more cryptic? There's a mystique.
Don't want to boast.
No.
Boastful.
No.
Just no one likes a show off, do they? So let's just 6.
It's,
but they didn't call no one when they put a V6 in the S type, they didn't call it the 3.
No, they didn't, did it? Although maybe they were missing the trick there. But you see, 6 is impressive because you could pull up next to a straight 6 Jag owner and go, I've got 2 of them, and then wind the window back up.
Maybe that was Morgan's policy on the on his extra strong teas, double bagger.
Oh, it's a double bagger in a 6.
Yeah.
Maybe it should have double of everything. It should have had 2 cigarette lighters. It should have...
it sort of did to an extent, didn't it? Because I think it did have 2 ashtrays. If memory serves, did these Jags not have an ashtray per side of the transmission tunnel?
Oh, did it? Or did it have one...
At some point.
I mean, I know a lot of 6-tooth cars had them in the doors. So each door had its own tray for fag ash. Interesting.
There were ashtrays all over the shop in old cars.
Yeah.
I think they had quarter lights. You flick the tabs out.
Oh, blimmin' love a quarter light. We've said this before. How blimmin' great. Bring it back.
Now, a Super V8 is the supercharged V8 as in the XJR, but in Daimler form.
Yes.
Lovely. Very lovely.
It is.
I borrowed one once. Have I said this before? I borrowed one once as a press car. I went to pick up my girlfriend at the time, and it had the Daimler D, in each headrest. And she got in, she looked at the headrest and she went, whose car is this? I think she thought I'd stolen it off someone called Derek or something. The Super V8 is a lovely car, but those old. I mean, I'm thinking Series 3,
Yep.
discrete colour.
Yes.
Not the pepper pot wheels. I want the other wheels that they come on, which actually the Daimlers I think would have had by default, the Kent wheels.
Yeah.
I can't get past 666. I think they're great, so I'd have a 666, please.
I think that's fair. So we there's one all for that. Question 2, motorway catseyes. Avoid them at all costs or thump straight over them. Well, I'll tell you what I do, Morgan, because I'm a weirdo and a bore. I always, when I overtake other cars, I always try and go in between them so I don't make any sound, and I challenge myself to position the wheels.
Yes.
Is that a cool idea? Or is
standard motorway game, isn't it? That?
I don't know. I've never discussed it with anybody, so I don't know.
I do that as well. Not all the time. Because sometimes you get a bit too into it. You find you get a bit too into it, and you'll get you're pulling back towards the left, and the passenger side wheels will smoothly pass across the white line. But then, in order to make sure you complete the set, you'll sort of do a needlessly slow pull back in or a slightly erratic one, and you sort of go, someone's probably going to report me for drink driving or something. Yeah, because you look weird. So you have to check yourself sometimes.
Well, it's like playing a game of Frogger and trying to just time it all perfectly. So I would say avoid.
Yes, if possible.
Yeah,
and
I've got a
car with
somewhere.
a firm ride.
Yeah, I found one in the road once, with its rubber sleeve and everything, and I was walking. Yeah, I just picked it up and took it home like a poorly squirrel or something, and it's still in the garage somewhere.
But has it got the base unit thing?
Yeah, so it's like in a rubber. So you
can push it down and it does the little cleany thing that they do.
No, sorry. It's in its rubber extrusion, but it's come out of like a base plate that it must have sat in.
Actually, that's the point.
I'd like one. I'd like a full one.
Yeah, I'd like a full one.
I wonder if you can buy them as a wall piece.
I don't know. You have to go to maybe they only sell them like by the thousand. I'd like one cat's eye, please. What are you going to do with that, mate? That's not going to do as good, is it?
Just say we're a really poverty-stricken local council, and I just need one.
It's a very short road. I don't know, but maybe that's the thing. We're robbing the cat's eyes of their natural cleaning function by not running over them.
Oh yeah, shit. Forgot about that.
What was the third question?
Mullets are inexplicably back. What is the most mullety car on sale today? Mullety. In terms of actual aesthetics, so it does look a bit kind of business at the front, party at the back, driven by someone who could have an mullet. It's a good question. I do like taking the piss out of the mullet because I genuinely don't think it suits anybody. I keep going back to I think a really mullety car in terms of the silhouette of it is that it's the car that makes me instantly angry every time I see it without fail. It's the Mercedes GLC.
Why does the GLC anger you so much?
Because it's just so stupidly proportioned. It just makes me cross. Like I just want to get the designers and just walk up to them and nut one of them in the face. Just go, what the hell were you thinking?
Are you talking about the GLC Coupe?
Yeah. The Beetleback stupid piece of shit.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it's high up and it's flabby, but it's got a really tiny boot and it's all Beetlebacked. But it's sort of, I don't know. It's like a muffin top of a car. It's just nobody should want it.
Flabby's a good word for them.
They're just silly, flabby nonsense.
Are they mullety, though? I don't know that they're mullety.
Mullety.
For some reason, I've just got the Supra in my head.
Oh, what, the Mark V?
Yeah.
What, because of the type of driver or the look, the ducktail spoiler?
Yeah, I just think because it's kind of those sort of coupes, of which there aren't many around, are sort of inherently a bit mullety, aren't they? It's sort of, because back in the day, a mullety car would have been a Manta or
I love. You can't say Manta without thinking about what the driver would look like. It's just one of those cars.
No, but they would have a mullet, is my belief. I don't know.
They'd have a sleeveless white T-shirt and it would say active workwear on it.
Yes, diagonally.
Yes, it would. It really would. Yeah. Yeah, okay, mullety. Well, I mean, you could go BMW, you could go M4 coupe with that extra carbon lip on the boot lid, which lots of people are adding on.
Yeah.
Afterwards, and they've also got a diffuser which sweeps up quite violently, and of course it's got a really guffy exhaust, all of which perhaps makes me think it's a bit mullety. Or Transit Van MST, you know, the Motorsports Transit.
Yeah.
I think that's got a bit of a mullety feel to it. Hasn't it?
Well, that's a good one, actually. Yes, I'm going. That's it. I've decided. You're right.
MSRT, is it MSRT? It's just basically Malcolm Wilson's fast transits and all that. Yeah,
but they do the whole kit and the alloys and all sorts. And I think you can even now get a big front grille that says "faux" on it, like a Raptor.
Like a Raptor. That's right, mate. And it's got real presence on the road, hasn't it?
I used to see it, though I haven't seen it recently, an orange, I presume it was wrapped, an orange S-Max, where the owner had tried to make the grille look like that. But obviously the grille on an S-Max isn't really that big.
No.
But they put the faux lettering in it and painted it white. Didn't quite work, but, points for trying. I have a message from a listener called Paul Williams. Hello, Paul. He says, this Easter, my partner and I, brackets, she's not a listener, took a holiday in La Rochelle. Out of all the tricolor textbooks at school.
What, La Rochelle?
So, yes, they took a holiday in La Rochelle on the west coast of France via a visit to the Château de Chambord. I can highly recommend both. Interesting. I've never been to La Rochelle. But anyway, while I was away, I remembered how fond you both are of the Mark I Twingo, so I decided to keep an eye out for them, thinking I might see one or two.
Oh, yeah.
Well, how wrong was I? There were loads, well into double figures.
Yes.
All of them exhibiting one or more of the following: faded paint, flaking lacquer, shagged alloys, missing wing mirrors, missing radio aerials, scuffed bumpers, dented panels, and utterly minging interior. Scratches galore, including one that clearly travelled for some distance on its roof. I could go on, and yet it all seemed strangely appropriate and in keeping. My question is, what other vehicle could you see in such a dishevelled state and think that's exactly what it should look like?
Yeah, the French are really good at this. There's a video coming out on my YouTube channel where I sniff out a few when I'm driving to Anne factory in France. And I do go on the Twingo, the sort of battered Twingo hunt. What other car suits have... Well, Land Rovers, if we're going British.
Yes.
I think they're a more attractive proposition, a Defender or a series Land Rover, which has real war scars and nobody's made an attempt to improve them, repair them.
Yes.
Because they're aluminium, Richard, which I don't know if you know this, but the body panels are aluminium. Sometimes they scuff down to the aluminium, and then the aluminium has a bit of a sheen through it. I kind of like it. You know, like when statues in really high foot traffic public places, people often touch them in the same places, like the nose of a dog or the foot of a lady.
Yeah.
And that part of the statue has a bit more action, should we say, than the other parts.
Yeah, because if it's a brass statue, it rubs away the oxidization on the surface, doesn't it? So you get a little shiny bit. Yeah, and it's quite nice.
Yeah, and I think the natural oils from the skin touching it does things to it too. And I love the front wings of an old Land Rover of that type, where they wrap round and then down to where the lights are. That's often an area where they get lightly crunched up against things. And in the same way that I like my 2CV, the way it's had light impacts here and there over the years, but they've just gone with it rather than tried to repair it. I don't know why, I just find it quite attractive.
I was walking around here the other day and I saw a Peugeot 206 that looked like it had been in a Euro NCAP side impact test. But if Euro NCAP introduced one where you have to just rub the car down a brick wall, the whole side of it was crumpled, but not fatally so, like it hadn't bananaed the car.
Wow,
And
okay.
I think one of the wheel trims was missing.
Yeah.
And I just looked at it and went, well, that just looks like that could be taken straight from Paris. That's how a typical French city 206 would look.
Yeah.
But it's sort of rare to see it over here. But I'm not sure, to Paul's point about whether I was thinking that's exactly what it should look like. But I was thinking it wears it well because it seems somehow fitting. That's like that's a patriotically French spec 206 because it's been royally fucked and the owner's driving around with it like that.
I think when they were PDIing Twingos in France, as they were reversing them out of the dealer, they would sometimes smear it up the wall a little bit, and the owner was actually stood there watching and just go, yeah, that's absolutely fine because it's going to happen in the next 25 minutes anyway, so it's fine.
I thought you were going to say when they PDI'd it, they just PDI the body panels with a toffee hammer. Just check that's okay. Bam, bam, bam. Or that episode of Father Ted where he wrecks a Rover 200.
Oh, yes.
With the hammer.
That's right. That's great. I watched that again quite recently, only a couple of months ago.
Yeah, I've been watching some Father Ted again recently. It's good. I think, am I misremembering this? Or did the fucked up 200 in that episode was fucked up by Ed China?
Oh, was it?
I'm pretty sure
we should ask Ed that.
He supplied the vehicles, and they said, "Can you crumple one for us so it looks like Father Ted's made a mess of repairing a small dent?" And that's
because it's quite hard to do intentional damage,
yes,
isn't it?
No, it was probably more difficult to do than it looks, but sort of comedic damage like that.
I'm going to put in there maybe last one for this Micra K11, just because there's so many sort of like Just Eat delivery vehicles around here, and all of them, I've spoken about it before, all of them have got damage and misfitting bumpers, panel gaps which just aren't right. And it makes me smile because I bet none of them burn oil and none of them have ever had an oil change. And you're just like, yes. Come on, my son, come on. Very proud of you. So I've got a letter here from a chap called Sean Mallin. "You flaming flutes," he starts. "Please consider this topic for one of your next podcasts. Cars with a surprise celebrity. Picture this. I'm 18 and I'm cruising down the M1, Leicestershire area, coming home from a block release Volvo college. It's 2001 and I'm screaming the tits off my first car, a 95 Fahawadaza Fiesta 1.1. I slowly approach a vehicle hogging the middle lane. This is no surprise. And as I get closer to it, an image on the spare wheel cover comes into focus. The vehicle in question is a fellow Fahawadaza, but in the shape of the Maverick. Fairly tiny Maverick, and I forget its age, bog standard. The image I mention is a rabbit popping out of the top hat with a selection of stars and the occasional magic wand in the centre. I make the move to the third lane and I slowly overtake this decorated Maverick, and as I pass, I take a short glance into the cockpit only to discover a celebrity driver. It was none other than Paul Bloody Daniels, looking miserable, looking more miserable than sin. I couldn't believe my eyes, and it has stayed with me for all of these years. Have either of you experienced a similar surprise when you see a certain celebrity/famous person driving an unexpected vehicle? CMTMB, Sean from the heart of Kettering. His words, not mine.
Okay.
So that's a good one. Gosh, a faded spare wheel cover with a rabbit being pulled out of a hat with some stars and a wand.
I mean,
gosh.
I thought Paul Daniels, I'm pretty sure that at one point he had a Ferrari 308 and he had the number plate Magic.
He did have the plate Magic. I know he did. It was on. He'd had it on a Rolls before as well, I think.
Yeah, well, that's it. Surely Daniels is of an era in light entertainment when it was pretty much compulsory to have a shad.
It was mandatory.
Yeah,
the company's house would actually look up your reports and go, "You haven't bought a Shadow. What are you doing? You." You really need to buy a Shadow 2 in the next 2 months, otherwise we're going to clamp down on you, Daniels.
But to answer the question about surprise celebrities, I don't know if this is a total surprise. It just was at the time that I don't know how old I was, probably about 10 or 11, maybe a little bit older, that I was just sitting in the car waiting. My mum had just run into a shop to grab something. And I was sitting in the car and a Honda Accord Aero deck pulled alongside to then reverse into the space behind us. So it sort of slowly and smoothly came to a stop exactly with the driver's window next to me in the front passenger seat of our car. And I looked across now because I'd sort of seen the front, and being a tediously nerdy child, I'd already gone, "Oh, it's an Accord Aerodeck," which I quite liked because they
I
rakish,
still do like
pop-up lights.
Yeah,
no, they're great, and they were quite rare and quite stylish. And then I looked across at the driver, and it was Ken Barlow out of Coronation Street.
Was it really?
Yeah, William Roach, who I knew lived in the town where I grew up, because my mum very, very vaguely knew his wife. I mean, very vaguely, like just to sort of say hello to. I think they were sort of had mutual friends or whatever. But yeah, we never met Ken Barlow, but I saw him driving an Accord Aerodeck, and I was a bit like, that's quite a jazzy choice for TV's Ken Barlow, who's sort of notoriously a steady and quite boring character. Although, I think William Roach, the real life person, sued a newspaper for calling him boring.
Did he really?
I think so, in the 80s, yeah. So maybe he bought the Accord Aerodeck with the spoils from there if he won. I don't know.
I need to sue some people who are claiming that I'm shit.
Just so you can get an Accord Aerodeck.
So I can buy I'd like to just go out and buy something like that. That'd be very pleasant. Yeah.
I'm just doing a little search.
I don't know if I've bumped into a famous person in a mundane car. I don't think I have, which is really annoying.
The other one,
I'd like to.
And again, I don't know if this is surprising. I suppose it sort of is, but at the same time, it kind of made sense that I was driving through North London, and outside the big hospital in Archway, somebody was making an absolute pig's ear of doing a 3-point turn on quite a busy road. And it was like, why did you attempt this in the first place? And if you're going to attempt it, don't then make a massive cock of it and turn it into a 7-point turn.
Yeah.
And you could see the driver sort of in a slightly flustered way, flailing at the wheel, but not putting enough lock in. And it was all just, a bit of a shambles. But then I realised, as they finally sort of got themselves pointing the way they want to go and set off, it was the late Terry Jones out of Monty Python.
Really?
And the car he was in was a Subaru Legacy Outback.
I can't believe you can remember this so vividly. It's really impressive.
It's weird, isn't it? I think my mind has slightly amplified certain things, like that he was sort of flailing at the wheel in a slightly comedy way, like he was doing a bit. And I don't think he was. I think he's just not a very good driver, perhaps. But Legacy Outback.
That's great.
Is that surprising? I don't know.
I love it. I think it's also, we should put that question to other people, because I bet other people have seen some interesting ones.
Yeah.
Our listeners.
I have a message here from a listener called Richard, who says, I'm currently sat in awful traffic on the M25 and just noticed the latest Astra Estates indicator lights are absolutely tiny. The dullard in me wonders if they are so small they might even pose a threat to other road users, as it really isn't easy to see when the driver is trying to communicate lane changes.
It's interesting.
Have you concert standard flautists noticed this? Do you happen to know, is there some sort of minimum standard for indicator visibleness?
I presume there must be. I mean, LEDs have obviously got brighter, and I've noticed there seems to be a bit of a fashion for lights getting more discreet, but I don't know why. So the Land Rover Discovery, or it might be the Range Sport, one of them has very tiny indicators. The
Disco 5 has very tiny but very bright brake lights.
Yes. That's it. It's the 5, because I saw one the other day with a an aftermarket central rear number plate.
Oh yeah,
which pleased
it
me.
Really tidies it up, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like they still should have offered that. They still should have done it.
It's my understanding of the law that certainly in the UK and I guess Europe, the tests, the homologation tests, are based on brightness, not size. So I guess because LEDs can be made, to be very bright, that has allowed designers and engineers to shrink the size of the actual light. So as I understand it, in the UK and Europe, there is no legal requirement for the size of a rear light. There's positioning rules, but there's not actual size ones. In the US, there is a law about the size of a rear indicator, because a few years ago, Land Rover had to recall the Range Rover Sport, but they only had to recall like 9 cars or something. And the reason was because they'd been shipped to the US with Euro spec rear lights, and they contravened US law. And it was not because they flashed orange. You are allowed to have that in the US, so there were a lot of rear indicators there flash red. But the reason they had to change them and recall the cars is because the Euro indicator spec was too small, and Range Rover Sports and other Land Rover products and lots of other cars over there, like the whole red portion of the rear light flashes as an indicator.
Oh.
Because then it meets the size rules.
Tesla Model 3s have got absolutely teeny indicators as well.
Yes,
teeny.
They have. But again, I think in the US, the whole sort of brake light red portion flashes as the indicator on the Model 3.
I see.
It always puzzles me. Like, if you put your hazards on a car that works like that, and then you're braking, you don't get the benefit of both lights. You just get one light trying to do 2 jobs, but it's going to have to flash because the indicator presumably takes precedence. I don't get it. Anyway, that's the US rules. I understand it. There is a surface area rule over there, but not here.
I've got a great letter here from Isabella Lyons, or Izzy Lyons. Smith Sniff, I'm looking for some car buying advice. I want to get an Audi S5 4.2 manual, but I was just wondering if there's anything similar that you guys would recommend. It will be my only car, however my commute is 20 kilometres of motorway each way, so MPG isn't too much of a concern to me. Neither is seats or doors, as it's just myself. I presume you want seats or doors. Yeah. In the past, I've had V6s, straight 5s and 6s and 4-pot turbos, but I've just never had a V8, so I would like one before petrol becomes scarce. My budget is about £8,000. I'm not a fan of Mercedes. I do like Italian cars, but I'm not sure I could commit to a cheap Maserati, and I don't have the budget, unfortunately, for an Alfa Giulio Quadrifoglio. What do you guys think I should get, Izzy? Well, Izzy, that is a cool question. And you want a Manuel, which might make things slightly difficult.
Yeah, that's because also I was going to say, one of those V8 M3s.
Oh yeah, with the big codpiece bonnet.
E90.
Yeah,
yeah, but you're not going to get one of those for £8,000, are you?
I don't think so. You could get an appallingly abused E46 M3, but that's a 6.
So
supercharged Jags are nice, really nice, but not Manuel.
I mean, I wonder if Izzy would consider an auto for the right car. Again, I was going to foolishly suggest a Lexus ISF, but again, you're not going to get one for 8, and they're auto. So in fact, that's a completely useless suggestion.
I really like those.
Smith and Stiff, could you give me some useless suggestions, please?
I did a barn find the other day on the chap who'd written in to us to tee up this friend of his, this old chap who got the barn find car. He had an Audi RS4 that was it a B7? So it was it was a manual 4.2. I'm guessing it's that same drivetrain.
Yeah.
And I forgot how damn tasteful that era of RS and S car looked, because there's no big silly wings and spoilers, and although it is wider track, it's nice, and I don't know, it's nice. It's got nice smooth hips. It just doesn't look daft and roidy. Everything's got too roidy now.
Yeah.
And obvious.
Yeah, quite fussy.
Yeah.
As well, because.
Yeah, I really liked it. He was trying to sell it to me as well, but I didn't buy it. because
Oh,
I'm not going to.
how much did he want for it?
18.
More than 8 grand, I presume.
Yeah, he wanted 18, which is more than 8. So let's just think about any other cars, because an Alpha would be pretty cool, but you're not going to get a V. Those Alphas are V6 turbos, aren't they? Anyway.
Yeah.
V8,
I mean, I suppose.
V8.
I was going to say you could find an old BMW 540 or 550.
Yeah, that would be a really good one.
Probably, even sort of quite a late 550 that Tiff Niddell spec.
Yes. Is that an E65 or something? What is an E? I can never remember the E numbers that late. It all got very...
E60, the Bangle era 5 Series, which I think is, sort of...
The best of the Bangles.
Car.
That
yes.
Was. Yeah.
Good album.
Yes.
And they did a 550 manual in that, which almost no one ordered except Tiff.
Yeah, so you could go on the hunt for an ex-Niddell motor, which I would love to do. I really would.
Never raced or rallied, but driven as if it was in fact in a race or rally almost constantly on the road.
And left running for hours on end whilst filming Fifth Gear. Yes, damn it.
That would be if doors... of course, there's also the 6 Series, the equivalent of 6 Series. You get a 650. I never much liked that personally, because Evo had one as a long termer, and I spent some time in it, and I just never clicked with it. But some people like them.
Yeah.
Probably slightly more dynamic to drive than the Audi, but I don't know. The Audi looks nicer, I think.
I'll tell you what you could do, Izzy, and again, it's not a manual, so if you only wanted a manual, we're not helping you. You could get yourself a VW Phaeton W12 and just go, let's go even more cylinders. Who needs 8 when you could have 12?
Yeah.
Get a W12 or a Passat W8.
Oh, crikey.
Which is
there was a manual in the W8, wasn't there? But they're not... they're not very good, are they? They're sort of a novelty, but I don't think they're particularly brilliant.
They're not raspy.
God, if it goes wrong, then...
No.
What about a Monaro?
Oh, that's a really good call. And we had that one with that lovely guy turn up to our live show in Manchester in one, and it was great.
Peachy.
It was really
lovely.
Peachy. I think he paid 10.5 for that.
Yeah, so we're sort of skirting the budget here, potentially. And
that's a very good
V8
call, Rich.
check, manual check. That's going to be my final offer, Izzy. See if you can track down a Monaro within budget, because it'll delight you. I've just looked. There's one for sale here for 6.5.
Oh, shit off!
And there's another one for 8,775. So
oh my gosh, this is budget, and they are Manuel, and they have a good following. Rot is your nemesis on those, so look carefully for Rot. Contact the owners club. Pay someone maybe about 150, 200 quid to look over it first. It's not a lot of money to pay compared to big bills. I'd get an S-Type R Jag because I still just think that I want one. And you can Manuel swap them down the line, which again is something that I fantasize about quite regularly at the moment. So there.
Right, well, on that, I was about to say on that unusually sensible note, but you've made it unsensible by talking about manually swapping an old Jag. We should end. Thank you for all your questions. If you've got one you'd like to send us, hello@smithandsniff.com. We'll do this all again next Friday. Until then, goodbye.
Bye, everyone.